Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to Geeks Who Like Sports, Season 2, Episode 4. As always, I am Ray Carso in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Joining my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
Ray, I'm great. There's something on your face.
Oh, these are just my new glasses. I just got new glasses. In honor of in Spider-Man this weekend. Spider-Man 2 dropped on PlayStation 5. So
You spent money on Spider-Man glasses.
Yes.
Just when I think you can't go any lower, you completely redeem yourself.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they move. They do things.
They do things. There you go. The link. Yeah.
Spider-Man just winked at me. For those of you watching, Ray has what look to be very high-profile goggles. Can you see through those?
Yes, I can actually.
You can see through them.
It's limited. It's limited vision, but yes, it is. I can.
So
it's
not like real Spider-Man vision.
No, it's like I can see directly in front of me, but like my peripheral vision has been eclipsed. Yeah.
Okay, so these would be great for a real world application of ignoring people you don't want to speak to. Got it.
Yes. Yeah. So exactly. So all my coworkers or whatever, like they're just just blinders on, Spidey vision on. Yeah. I am set. I'm playing Spider-Man 2, and we're gonna get into that later this episode because we got a big episode for the folks this week. We do. It's true. Lee's just not. Lee is distracted by the
I'm mesmerized. I feel like I'm in the Jungle Book with the snake, where it's like looking at people. Trust in me.
Trust in me.
Listen, I want to get this out of the way. The date, as of this part of the recording, it's October 24th, and tonight, Ray, the Phillies will play their first Game 7 in the history of the Philadelphia Phillies, thus proving two things. One, that's an amazing stat. And supporting the fact that the Phillies are the losingest team in baseball history. But will they be in the World Series against the Texas Rangers? We don't know. So what are we going to do about that, Ray?
Well, we are going to do a little time travel. We know that's Lee's favorite thing.
It's my favorite thing.
So I'm going to go get my regular glasses. And while I'm getting my regular glasses, Lee, we are going to sit and wait, and we're going to see what happens, and we're going to go into the future to talk about the Baseball World Series. You mentioned the Texas Rangers. They did win their Game 7, kind of a repeat of the 2019 World Series between the Astros and Nationals, where every road team won the game, every game in the series.
Yeah, that's weird.
But we don't know if the Rangers are playing the Phillies, which is what we want, or the Diamondbacks, which is what no one wants.
Well, my reaction could be very, very different depending on who wins this game tonight, Ray.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to find out who won by Lee's reaction in 3, 2, 1. Hello from the future, or now present, or is it past? We've gone plot yet. Lee, how are you doing? Lee, are you okay?
Am I okay, Ray? You're asking me if I'm okay? We blew one of the greatest teams in history, and you're asking me if I'm okay? Because the answer to that question, Ray, is yes, I'm doing fine. How are you today? It's good to see you. It's the morning after.
Yes, very, very tired. God. I've been dreaming of symbiotes all night.
You're still in Spider-Man land. I'm in pain, Ray. I'm just sitting here in pain while you smile at me, looking at me with those stupid Spider-Man eyes that you have on. Future Lee is pissed. No. Everybody listening, thank you for allowing me to be in the future with you today. This is what I'll say, Ray. It's one of the worst losses in Philadelphia sports histories, one of the worst letdowns in history. Yeah. I've got two minds on it. From a baseball mind, it's a choke situation. The top players did nothing. You got to give a lot of credit to Arizona for coming into Citizens Bank Park and shutting that team down twice in their home place. I cannot deny them that. They did exactly what they needed to do, played fundamental baseball, got guys on base, got those guys home.
Thus base stealing, small ball, bunting, all that stuff.
They did everything they needed to win that game. And unfortunately, the Phillies, what seems to be their greatest asset is also their Achilles heel, is that you can't just win on solo shots over and over and over and over again. Yeah. But I will say this. I am not going to say it once, and you'll everybody listening, I want to get this one out of the way. It was not a great season, but not great unless you win. All right. Or you get pretty close to winning in terms of the World Series. It was a unique season. And this team really brought the fan base along for the ride more than I've ever seen before. There were so many wonderful moments during this season that I refuse to allow kind of the pain of that loss to take that away and wipe it away. And a lot of people go, none of it mattered. No, it mattered to me. A lot of these kind of record-breaking games and fun, and again, the ability for Harper and Turner, the story with Turner, Schwarber and Bohm and Stott and all these guys kind of inviting us into the locker room, Castellanos, all of them, really got me back into baseball again after many years of hating it and being disgusted with it. So I'm thankful for that. I really am. I'm not just saying that to be funny. This is futurely speaking. All right. But it is always tough to see a team choke. But I'm going to say this too. Now there's kind of the coach talking to me. Two things that everyone always forgets from a fan standpoint. Always forget. One, it is insanely hard to win. People do not understand. I know you think you do. You don't understand how hard it is to win at that level, much less the championship at any level. It's always against you in terms of the odds. It's really, really, really hard. So I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm saying that generally it's hard to win. The next thing I'm going to say is this, is that, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, you know you're going to win until you don't. And the Phillies look completely invincible. And it was actually Castellanos last night who kind of said that, we went to Arizona, something flipped. You could feel a switch flip. And it's one of those things of like, yeah, it did. And we nosedived quickly. And you got to give a lot of congratulations to Arizona. Now, sorry, the other thing I wanted to say is this. If you want to win big, this is so true. I'm talking from, again, a coaching standpoint. If you want to win big, you must risk losing big. All right. And I will say that the 23 Phillies put everything on the line. They risked it all, knowing that if this fell apart, this would be the reaction. Okay. They risked it. So I give them credit for risking everything, knowing what was going to happen, and keeping in mind too that if this was a trilogy of films, this is the Empire Strikes Back year. All right. I mean, it really is. It kind of feels like that, right? And most of this team will be back next season, and there will be a part 3. It doesn't mean they're going to make the World Series and win, but there's going to be the continuation of this storyline. But you want to win big, you got to risk losing big. And a lot of people that don't succeed in life don't risk losing. I mean, it's just the way it is. You're going to lose more than you win. Now, funny moment for you, Ray. My kids are getting old enough now to experience this, and I mean really experience it. And they were pretty upset last night. And my son stormed off to his room and literally said, "Curse you, Phillies!" Exact words. And it's like I had to explain to him, along with a lot of younger fans, and by younger I mean really 30 and down, that and I'm going to say it right. I sat through 27 years of this with all 4 teams. So I am conditioned. I have a master's degree in watching my teams lose. So I kind of know how to compartmentalize this, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Philly being good is a very recent development.
It really is. Really from it really is, right? So it's like
really from about 08, right? From 08 with that Phillies team, and obviously the Eagles in recent years.
I'd say it started, look, in 08 we won. In 07 they were getting good. In 08 it was like, oh wow, it's possible to win championships. I remember that feeling, right? And then the Super Bowl was massive, and we're kind of in it. The Eagles are in it. But I had explained to my son and my daughter last night, like, look, it's again very hard to win. It's very rare, and like, guys, I had to tell them, like, the Phillies just never won when I was growing up. We had 1 year my entire life where the Phillies were a threat, and that was more heartbreaking than this. Trust me, So not to ignore his feelings or anything like that, but I had to kind of explain, like, no, this is what it was like. But look, I'm going to say this one more time, and I really mean this. It sucks. It sucks that they lost. It really sucks. But I can't let that replace so many positive things that happened this season and positive moments. I'd hate to be one of those people that goes, none of it mattered. Again, Ray, I was really, really against the MLB there for a while, and this team kind of brought me back. Now, before we get into the World Series, which one discuss anything on what I just said before, I have something to show you.
No, I mean, I think you're kind of spot on. I mean, you guys, the bats fell asleep. I think it was, you mentioned you lived and died by the home run. And I think it definitely was to your detriment.
They went into a coma, Ray.
You know, it definitely, and you guys had your chances. I mean, especially in game 7, you were up 2-1. You had runners at the corners with 1 out. All you needed was a long fly ball, and instead, I'm not sure. I don't think it was Turner at that point, but I forget who was up. And you're swinging for the fences instead of just trying to make some contact and get that third run in.
Yeah, and they said that. It was
Turner. It was Turner later. Yeah, who was wildly flailing. You had runners at the. You had Pache pinch hit, draw, walk. You had Schwarber draw, walk, and then Turner just flailing at anything that was coming out of the pitcher's hand. And it just was like the guys were trying to do too much in a game where you didn't need to do too much. You weren't down 7-2 early. It was
Arizona did well.
Yes, they were like, if we scratch out a run here, bunt. Single, and I was questioning. They bunted with a runner on first. They bunted with a runner at first, Perdomo, and I'm like, why would they do that? Because they looked at the lineup and like, oh, because Corbin Carroll will now definitely get up this inning, and with 2 outs, and he had you guys in. He had a horrible games 1 through 5, but he had you guys in Philly in game 6 and 7. Probably rookie of the year for the National League, and Corbin Carroll. Actually, who was the MVP of the NLCS? I missed that. I turned it off.
I turned the TV off.
Yeah, I turned it off as well. So I don't even know who was NLCS MVP.
While you're looking this up, I'll say this: that look, you could tell that the Phillies were swinging for the fences, and every at bat seemed to be a struggle. And it's a shame because I hate to say the season's a culmination of one game or one play, but it kind of came down to that towards the end of the wire. And the Phillies were very not the Phillies. You took the crowd out of it. And I'll tell you one mistake that was made.
It was Marte, by the way, who won the MVP last night. Yeah, he had the best overall series for the Diamondbacks.
I will say this now so it's recorded. The biggest mistake that Arizona made last night was one of their players took a Diamondback flag, went out to center field, and stuck it in the field like it was the moon. And that was not smart, because if we ever face you again, now the fans have a reason. and you know what? You gave Harper a reason, you gave Turner a reason. So
it's almost like T.O. running out to this middle of the Star in Dallas.
Don't do that.
That was a bit classless and a bit unnecessary. I get you're
need to do that.
Super excited, but
all right. Before we move on, is it okay? So
yes,
we know that, Ray, I was tortured as a sports fan my whole life.
Yes.
Right. And so the gods in their infinite wisdom have decided to continue to remind me that how that felt, because at my doorstep this morning, Ray, it arrived. The thing I had been waiting for was on delay, and I got it. And now I have to sit with my Fightins hoodie the whole winter, Ray. I got to sit with this.
I was going to say, Lee, who are you fighting? There's no fight.
The Fightins, I'm just going to save that for next season. Maybe I'll wear that once this goes. And Ray, look, you know me. I like to do things to feel good. I want to feel good, right? So another package arrived today. And as I knock everything off my desk, another package arrived. And I wasn't going to share this with the audience, but I have to do something to feel good. And Ray, first thing I'm going to show you is I got a Roy Hobbs t-shirt, number 9.
Oh.
I also got a Roy Hobbs Wonder Boy t-shirt. For those of you who don't know, Roy Hobbs is a fictional character from The Natural, my favorite baseball movie. It's actually why I wore number 9 and wear number 9. But Ray, remind me again what you're being for Halloween.
I am going as a Ghostbuster.
Which Ghostbuster would you go as?
Well, if I'm going to go as myself, I actually even got a customized name tag that says Carcillo, but I would be
awesome. Yeah.
I would be, obviously, I'd be Ray Stantz.
You would. And that's Ray, why you need a Ray's Occult Book t-shirt that I bought you.
Oh, look at that. That's amazing.
I'm going to try and get this over to you before Halloween, just so you can have it for the day after.
Oh, that's amazing.
In the infinite wisdom of the Phillies' loss, I'm giving gifts out with lots of love to my friend Ray. Ray's Occult Books t-shirt. There it is.
I love it. I love it.
In the mail. We're going to get it over to you, Ray, for your low payment of 0.00. You too can have a Ray's Occult Book shirt. And I'm just gonna keep this Fightins hoodie, which is actually pretty cool. And it's just not the time over here. But I got you that t-shirt. I feel better about myself. And one more thing, Ray. This is important. We talk a lot about cutscene on here.
Yes, we do.
I want to confirm that while cutscene can give you a great night's sleep, it in fact cannot take away the pain of an NLCS loss.
Yeah.
But it did let me sleep.
Yep.
Cutscene.
Well,
helping you sleep when you need it the most.
That was like when I took it before after the Giants loss against the Bills a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, absolutely. It'll get you to sleep. Yes, happy Halloween. Yes. And we're getting, remember, folks, we mentioned it later, and we go in the past.
The past, Ray and I will mention it later.
But we are doing our episode. We're a little later today because obviously we did this special segment. We wanted to see what happened between the Phillies and Diamondbacks. Next week will be a little early. It'll be our special Halloween episode for Geeks Who Like Sports.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Really quickly on to the World Series. I don't care. Won't be watching. Let's move on to the other sports.
No, well, I would like to break down a little bit of the World Series.
Okay,
just a touch.
That's fine. You know what? I'm going to allow it. All right. Yes. Texas Rangers versus the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, a series that, to be fair, to your point, nobody's going to watch.
No one wants to watch it.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Outside Dallas and Arizona.
And Arizona and Phoenix, yeah. But the Rangers, of course, knocked off the Astros. Bruce Bochy continues. He's never lost a Game 7 in his career. And Dusty Baker, who now sounds like he is going to officially retire, will finish his career 0-4 in Game 7s, never winning a Game 7 in his illustrious.
With one World Series championship.
Yeah.
So
well, as a coach, he did win as also as a player, as a
very
Dodger.
Fair. Very fair. Yes.
But yeah, no, so the Rangers, they knocked it again. I think we mentioned it in the past, 2019, similarly, where the Nationals versus the Astros in the World Series, the road team won every game, and that's what happened in the ALCS. The Rangers absolutely went down to Houston, and those games were never in doubt. Like the Rangers were mad that they lost all three of their games at home and then went down to Houston and it absolutely. And also, by the way, it did not help that Adolis Garcia, people were making fun of Adolis Garcia saying he woke up the Astros. No. The Astros woke up Adolis Garcia.
That's true.
And he became he was a monster. I think he hit 3 home runs in the last 2 games of that series, helping propel the Rangers to their third ever pennant. And their first is 2011. And then, of course, you know about the Diamondbacks. Lee, I'm not going to lie.
Sorry. Yes, we do know about the Diamondbacks.
I mean, because here's the other thing. Also, personally, as a Yankee fan, if I have to hear one more thing about 2001, I am going to throw a brick through my television.
That was a tough one. That was a tough one. That was the only year ever I was rooting for the Yankees ever. Yeah. And it's funny because I remember I was actually telling our producer, Caitlin, about how they used Schilling and Randy Johnson to close out that final game, which I had never seen before. So, interesting little piece of baseball history there.
Yeah, but so the Diamondbacks, their first pennant since 2001, their second in franchise history. It's bet against the Diamondbacks at your own risk. It seems like everybody's has been snake bit.
Doesn't matter now. Yeah, it doesn't matter now. Whatever the record was is irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, the one good thing is, I don't know if you heard that Chris Mad Dog Russo said a couple days ago that if the Phillies were to lose both games 6 and 7, he would retire. So goodbye, Chris. Good riddance. Hope that you do not go riding off into the sunset, just disappear and fade away. I really hope you're a man of your word, because goodness knows everybody is sick of listening to your big mouth for talking about know nothing about baseball. I don't care. I said it.
Wait, I'm the one who's supposed to be upset today. What are you doing? This is my time to be upset. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I just think Mad Dog Russo's a perfect example of a dude who's holding onto the microphone for way too long.
I'm kind of a big deal. That's kind of where that's at.
Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting series, Ray. I mean, look, the way I look at it is, and again, you can disagree with me on this, you or anybody listening. The Diamondbacks have slayed the dragon, for lack of a better word. I mean, and the Phillies were a dragon, right? Yeah. And it's like you go into this World Series, you have 2 teams now with really great culture, storylines, and belief. So that's kind of cool from a do I want to watch this or not standpoint. But I think it's going to be a cool story again if the Diamondbacks, the last team to get into the playoffs. It's just like the Phillies last year, right? It's like, can they take on the Rangers? Now, on paper, statistically, the Rangers should kill them. But none of that matters in a World Series scenario. Yeah,
I mean, the Diamondbacks have a better bullpen. Like the Diamondbacks, it's a 7-inning game, right? If they can get it to Ginkel, the setup man, and then get it to Seawald, neither one has given up a run the whole postseason. Yeah, it's a 7-inning game for Arizona. Their bullpen has been lights out, much better than the Ranger bullpen.
Right.
But obviously the Ranger lineup is, in my opinion, much better than the Diamondbacks lineup. 1 through 9, everybody is a threat. There's guys in Texas that have experience. I think it's going to come down to the starting rotation, which is honestly very even, actually, in my opinion, right? Scherzer is not what he once was, even though he's going to, he's the game 3 starter basically for Texas. Now he's their 3. Obviously, I think Eovaldi is going to get the ball in game 1 for Texas. And then Montgomery probably. That they match up well against Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen. I think it's going to come down to the starting pitching, and I think it's kind of even, and I'm going to give a slight edge to the better lineup. Because here's the thing: if Texas has a big lead going late into the game, even though the Diamondbacks will keep it there, I don't know if Texas's bullpen is so bad that they'll pull a Craig Kimbrell and blow a lead to that lineup.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion on Kimbrell today of whether or not he should have even been in that game. Another thing with the Rangers, Ray,
I don't think he should have been.
Probably not, but hindsight's 2020. I mean, if he gets his mojo back in that, then we probably win the series, to be honest with you. So, again, big risk, right? You got to risk big to win at these times of years, and every decision could be like, if you had to. I mean, someone sent me one today, which I thought was really stupid. It was like, well, if Turner hit the ball, you would have won. Like, no shit, right? What are you telling me? Like, if the Phillies made hits, they would have won the game. Like,
if Harper would have hit it 3 more feet to left,
right? If they hit the ball, they would have won. Like, what do you? Don't send me that crap.
Yes,
it's horrible. All right, I think the other big storyline here. I'm looking at this. The Rangers, second to last in the AL West last year. One of the worst teams in the American League. So you bet that's going to be in their mind. In terms of how that works. And same thing with the Diamondbacks. So you got two teams.
Diamondbacks were a 100 loss team 2 years ago.
I mean, you just got to see, like, there's similar storylines, similar belief. I mean, they both kind of, I wouldn't say that the Rangers slayed any dragons. The Rangers were just mad that they didn't win the division, and I think they got their revenge. Yeah. So I think that the one thing that plays into the Diamondbacks' favor is that the Diamondbacks had no natural enemies through this playoff. Right? They are very focused on themselves. And like we said, we're happy to be here. We want to win the World Series. So now there's this why not us belief. Where the Rangers, I think, and again, people can disagree, their mission was we need to defeat the Astros and get to the World Series. I give the Diamondbacks a slight, not a lot, advantage in the storyline culture side. All right. Now, with that said, I give the Rangers a slight advantage on the talent side. So it's going to be really interesting to watch. And naturally, when it is the top of the 7th inning in the deciding game, I will turn it on. And I will say that I was right with.
So are you picking? Are you going to pick? Are you going to pick Arizona or Texas?
Man, it's tough, isn't it?
I'm going to take Texas.
Yeah, I'll take Arizona. I mean, they're just playing so strong right now, and I would not be surprised if that goes 7. I also won't be surprised if it's like a sweep.
No, for sure. I think it's gonna be Texas in 6. I think Texas has home field. I think it's gonna be a good series. And like you said, I'll check the box score the day after every morning because the odds of me actually watching this are slim to none.
Well, and I do want to say this. This doesn't always happen to me, but I was watching these games, and I gotta give another compliment. Arizona's got some pretty cool jerseys. I mean, I love the Phillies jerseys. Don't get me wrong, but I'm looking at all these different jerseys that they had, right? And I was like, man, they got a pretty nice drip going on here, depending on what they're wearing. So congratulations to Arizona, Phoenix, the Diamondbacks beating the Philadelphia Phillies, my Phillies, whom I love. But I want to say this again in closing, if I may, Ray, before I send this back to the past.
Yes.
I do want to thank this Phillies team. And Ray, I was very upset with the MLB for years, and they have always disappointed me, the MLB. And while I'm disappointed in the outcome, I'm not disappointed that I loved watching baseball for the first time in a long time this year without any anger or hatred or change. And it is now time, Ray, I'm going to say this, to bring in the challenge system for the umpires. Time to bring this in. It has nothing to do with the Phillies right now.
Expand replay. This is across the board. Absolutely. 100%.
Right. I'm ready.
If you're going to put the damn strike zone on our TVs, allow the batters to challenge balls and strikes. Like give them a couple, just, not every ball and strike, but you have it in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And it works perfectly there. Yeah. It's super easy.
I want to say this too. I'm not saying to everyone listening that the Phillies would have won had they had this, but it is the one part of the game that I'm watching now, and it's just like you wince every time the call's wrong.
The games in Arizona in particular were particularly bad.
Yeah.
And the umpires for game 3 and 4 should be embarrassed.
Yeah. And I will say this, look, they sway outcomes. Period. Yep. That's a broad statement. They sway outcomes. And I cannot tell you who would win or would not win. With that said. Now I'm gonna say this too. I gotta send a message to all of you listening and to Past Lee. Past Lee, enjoy these final hours before the Phillies blow this game. You'll see that you do the rest of this episode with glee and joy, because you just don't know where you're going to be. But enjoy the moments you have with Ray for the rest of this episode, because tomorrow you're going to enjoy the moments you have with Ray again. I'm going to go back into my hoodie now, and I will see you all next week on Halloween. Thank you for watching. Past Lee, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, so we're going back to the past now to go talk about another jackass in baseball, Alex Rodriguez. So with that, we'll see you all yesterday in 3, 2. Wow, it's good to be back on Tuesday now. I got my regular glasses back.
I still don't know what happened, but me from yesterday does, or tomorrow. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, time travel is confusing.
Yes. So your present, when people are listening to this, it's the present, and our future will be the present. But right now, we're talking about the past.
I'm just gonna Back to the Future this, and no one's future's been made yet. It's whatever you make of it. So make it a good one.
We're going to plaid now. So anyway, so baseball, there's your baseball rundown. Congratulations to whoever won.
Congratulations to whoever won.
Yes. So moving on now further into baseball. This was an interesting story that came out this week. Alex Rodriguez always seems to get himself in the news. He just can't seem to shut his mouth. Seemed to plead a bit with the New York Yankees about possibly having his number 13 retired. Of course, A-Rod didn't win an MVP in a World Series with the Yankees. Of course, had several milestone moments with the Yankees for his career. But he basically mentioned that when the Yankees traded for Joey Gallo and Joey Gallo got his number 13, that he was a bit miffed and he kind of wants his number retired. And as a Yankee fan, I want to tell you, Alex, to go screw yourself. We don't want to
A-Rod. You've never liked A-Rod. Not even when he was there. I'm saying that both to make fun of you, but I'm also saying it because you've been consistent about this for a long time. You have never liked A-Rod.
No, never. And again, and look, I'll admit it, the big reason why they won the 09 World Series was because of him. But of all the years as he was a Yankee, that was the only year he showed up. So he had, to me, one good year as a Yankee.
Well, there were several years there he literally was not allowed to show up.
Well, yes, exactly, because of the cheating and the steroids and the other stuff. I never felt he fit in with the Yankees. I felt he kind of rubbed a lot of guys in the locker room the wrong way. I feel that, and look, I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, I also feel to me like I never liked the fact that they retired Reggie Jackson's number. Reggie Jackson was only a Yankee for 5 years. Now, Reggie got that Yankee team in the 70s over the hump and led them to back-to-back world titles. I'm not denying that, but when you think of Yankees, to me, you don't think of A-Rod. To me, you don't think of Reggie Jackson.
Oh man, I don't know. I go multiple directions on this. I think if you're a Yankee fan, that might be true. All right. If you're a non-Yankee fan, when I think of A-Rod, I think of him on the Yankees, which is weird. Now, I think of him as a Mariner. I think of him as a Seattle Mariner. And I can obviously I remember that. It's weird, Ray. So let's just dive into the A-Rod situation a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to pay him some compliments, and I'm also going to down him a little bit. Mm-hmm. In recent years, he's been very forthright that he made major mistakes, especially with performance-enhancing drugs. He's done a lot to speak about getting back up. He's admitted freely he's like one of the most strikeouts of all time. He's like on the top 5 list or something like that. Yeah. So in terms of his personal, professional persona after baseball, I'm okay with it. He's done a good job of paying for his sins, if you know what I mean by that. Okay,
that's fair.
I'm talking about him as a person, not him as a Yankee.
For sure. And that's fair. And I can agree with that as a person.
And he was a tremendous baseball player. There's no doubt. Okay. Like I don't think we're talking about A-Rod's statistical performance as a baseball player. It's undeniable that he was a great player. Yeah. Okay. No matter how you feel about, PEDs or whatever. Now, this is where I have a problem. The gall of anyone to say, I would like my number to be retired. And then to do that with the New York Yankees, that miffs me a little bit. First off, if you have to ask for it, you probably don't deserve it. Okay? The only player in Major League Baseball right now that probably deserves something and hasn't gotten it yet is Pete Rose. And he also kind of maybe made his own bed with that a little bit too. All right? But A-Rod, I don't, it's a little pompous, right, Ray? Like to say well, I kind of wanted my number retired. I don't, it just doesn't work that way to me. Right. Yeah. I don't know. That one is a little weird to me. It's like, you have to ask. I don't know. I mean, he's putting himself ahead of the team there a little bit, in my opinion.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's like and I get it. He kind of sees a lot of the guys that he played with as the Yankees get the number retired, but those Yankees were also part. I was going to say they were part of the dynasty before that. It's like you can point to one World Series, Jeter, Posada, O'Neill. They can point to 5 World Series.
Well, let me ask you
O'Neill 4, but still, like,
are there anybody that's out at the graveyard at Yankee Stadium? Where all the retired numbers are, because that's where they buried those athletes, right? Out in the center field.
No.
There used to be an urban legend that a lot of kids used to think that the players that were retired were actually buried out in center field.
That's actually
it looked like it a little bit. But are there any?
Some of the plaques look very mausoleum-like. I'll admit
they did. They very much did. They don't anymore, but they did then. Were there any players in there that haven't won more than one World Series?
The only player to have his number retired by the Yankees and not have won a World Series is Don Mattingly.
Okay.
And again, he was the captain. He was there his whole career, borderline Hall of Famer,
he
MVP, batting title.
Right.
Yes.
So, to me, it's like, this is what I'm looking at. Like the requirements for retiring a number. If we're talking about the Angels, very low standards to require to retire a number at this point. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not making fun of the Angels. I'm really not. All right. I'm saying that the New York Yankees, to retire a number, the standards are pretty high. You have a lifelong Yankee and a very well-known Yankee as the person who only has the one World Series. And then everyone else in there is either a god in baseball.
Yeah, or at least part of a dynasty.
Part of a dynasty, which A-Rod was not.
No.
So while I can appreciate the conversation around him being there and having his number retired, that conversation should not be started by him, number one.
Yeah.
Number two is that I bet you, and we're not going to do this right now, if I went through every sport and found out playoff MVPs and how many of them have their number retired, I can guarantee you that's not a prerequisite for having your number retired.
No.
Okay. So I don't know. I just don't like that he felt like he should ask for that. I mean, there might be other reasons behind that. Maybe he feels he deserves something for some reason. I just don't think that the standards are there for the New York Yankees to retire his number. No. And again, I think that here's another one. Here's one for you, Ray. And I'm not a Yankee fan, right?
Yeah.
He was largely a disappointment before that World Series to Yankee fans. I remember.
His first year as a Yankee was the year that we got reverse swept by the Red Sox. Hey, there's not a lot of good stuff around A-Rod as a Yankee. And by the way, the 2009 World Series MVP, remember, was Hideki Matsui. So don't forget that as well.
And the 2009 Series MVP was the flu that the Phillies got. That took them all. No, I'm just kidding. The Yankees won that World Series. I'm joking aside. The strand of the flu that the Phillies got during that series. No, I'm totally kidding. Look, and you're right, it was Matsui. Here's the other thing too, Ray, is that I remember leading up to that World Series, it was like the conversation was, this is going back to 2009, like, man, if this guy doesn't win a World Series here, what a bust. Yeah. So you don't just go from bust to having your number retired because you won a World Series. I mean, the more I dissect this, the more silly it becomes.
Right.
So again, I'm more miffed that he asked. It's not. It's not that it's the conversation. You can have a conversation about a lot of players. It's the fact that he asked. I'll give you another example. And again, we're back in the past again, so I might feel differently about this when Future Lee was talking. But Bryce Harper's absolutely going to have his number retired by the Phillies. He's already in line to be the greatest Philly of all time. He's very close to passing Mike Schmidt, and all he needs is a World Series championship.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that's a guy that's not going to ask for it, and it's probably going to get it. Right. Because he's been a god in Philadelphia. I just don't think A-Rod ever ascended to that status. Had a great season, was a major part of that World Series championship, and was a great baseball player, none of which are requirements for your number to be retired.
Yes. No, absolutely. And I think A-Rod, it was in poor taste to even comment on this and to talk about this.
I don't, what was the context
to call out the Yankees for then giving his number to Joey Gallo, and like, come on, dude.
Where did this come up? Like I'm even interested.
I think it was on, I don't know if it was on the Fox show or if it was somebody
was he prompted or did he just say it? Like, that's the
thing. All I saw was that I think somebody was talking about retired numbers, and then somebody asked him about Joey Gallo getting his number when Joey Gallo was acquired by the Yankees, and he talked about how he really wishes his number was retired, and that he was kind of miffed that number went to Joey Gallo.
Was Jeter sitting right there?
I would imagine so.
I would love to see Jeter's reaction to that. There's your answer right there. If Jeter's going, you should have his number retired. I'm like, all right, if Jeter thinks so, maybe I missed something. But Jeter, knowing him, was just on screen like this.
Jeter is very. It's really weird having Jeter on that show. By the way, let me just say it, because he's very. Ortiz is over the top. A-Rod is over the top. He
has no personality, Ray.
Jeter is very measured and very reserved.
Yeah. He's very Derek Jeter about it.
Yes.
He has his routine. Get away. He doesn't trust Big Papi at all. Big Papi gets him gifts. He has zero trust in that man. My favorite thing was when he gave him a Red Sox jersey with Jeter on the back. And Jeter threw it into the grass.
Yeah.
Jeter hat. He wouldn't put it on.
It seems to be in good fun, but like,
he doesn't trust him.
It feels like Ortiz gets on Jeter's nerves every show.
Oh, it's great. It's great, as he did as a player too.
Yes. You know what A-Rod could do maybe to help his case, though, is that maybe he could go to Dubai and play some baseball or something.
I'm sure they'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
They want everything else nowadays.
Baseball. That's from our producer Caitlin. I gotta give her credit for that. Oh,
one more time. Go.
Dubai baseball. So in the expansion, or the attempted expansion of the game around the world, there's a new league being set up in Dubai called, I think it's Baseball United. And there's 4 teams. It's a 4-team league, and they are drafting retired or no longer playing, at least at the major league level, players. Right, you had multiple-time Gold Glover Andrelton Simmons, former Yankee Didi Gregorius, former Yankee Robinson Cano, 50-year-old Bartolo Colon. So that's why I'm saying, hey, if Big Sexy can go over to Dubai and play for another year, I think A-Rod could probably lace him up one more time over there too. Lee, what is your thoughts on this new Dubai Baseball League, but in particular that they're using, I don't want to say washed up, but definitely retired and past their prime major leaguers to flesh out their rosters?
Well, look, if you want to make a legitimate baseball experience in league, you need to have former MLB players in it to get it going, just to have it start. I mean, you're seeing this. Look, going to wrestling, this is no different than what AEW did to start their wrestling league, right? Now, the thing that always freaks me out about that side of the world is that it just seems like there's unlimited money. Right. Yeah. Like someone found a cheat code or something in a video game and got unlimited funds. So it's always weird to me when they start new sports leagues overseas, and like a snap of the fingers, they have everything that they need. But hey, look, I've always said this. Sports are becoming more global by the day. It's not a bad thing for more people to be seeing baseball, because the truth at the end of the day, Ray, is this. Some kids will see that game and fall in love with the game. And in 20 years, you're going to have someone born in Dubai in Major League Baseball. And it's going to be because of that league, right? Yep. So I always look for things like that. I try and get by the glitz and the glam. I think it's very important that the MLB, NBA, NHL, NFL, Major League Soccer, Major League Lacrosse, and the WNBA all maintain their stature as the best leagues on the planet, right? We can have the debate about the world champion stuff later, but it's not the best in the world. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Except for in soccer.
Okay, except for in soccer. 100% agree with you on that. They don't call it the World Series of Soccer, though. Yeah. Reason, right? That's a very fair point. But I don't think there's any problem with sports expanding. I think it helps with the business, and I think it helps grow the game. So like we talked about on the last episode about the Olympics bringing in extra sports. I mean, another sport the Olympics brought in that we didn't even talk about is breakdancing. Like, that's an Olympic sport now. right?
I didn't even realize. I missed that one.
I know. I mean, look, there's a lot of Olympic sports people don't even realize exist. But anything to grow the game, I'm for. And look, good for the people of Dubai for bringing American baseball to Dubai.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good for the game overall. Like you said, it's a bit wary doing anything over in that part of the world. What was it? Ronaldo signed, that $600 million contract with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And I think they offered Mbappe from France like $1 billion and he turned it down.
Yeah.
I think that there's definitely some questions around behind the backing of the league, but I think that the league itself, I think that the fact that they're trying to get major leaguers, like you said, to put it on the map and whatnot, even if they are folks who may not be in their prime anymore. And I think Robinson Cano or is like a part owner of one of the teams too. So
hey, listen, I'd love for someone to offer me a lot of money to go play in a league.
I'll go play video games in Saudi Arabia for $600 million.
Life after death.
Yeah. So, it's hard. And I get it. There's a lot going on in that world. There's a lot of political stuff going on in that part of the world. But it's also, that's a lot of money. That is not just life changing.
That is dumb to turn it down.
That is generationally change. Like that is your kids wouldn't have to worry about money, and that's the thing that you have to weigh. And
and when they start arguing about having their numbers retired, it's going to be really awkward because they're gonna be like, "We spent all this money on you. You want your number retired?" Yes, I do.
And then they're like, "It'll be good for business." Okay, fantastic. Yes. You know what else has been good for business? We move on to football.
The foosball.
The foosball. And you know who was great for foosball? Mr. Bill Belichick. 300 wins. Only the third coach in history to do that behind, of course, Papa Bear George Halas and the great Don Shula. He beat the Bills on Sunday. They come from behind victory for the Patriots to keep their season on life support. Again, we talk about it all the time. You can never underestimate a divisional matchup. That was a game that the Bills probably should have won, but it was in Foxborough. The Patriots were amped for it, and they played a good game. Josh Allen did not. And so Bill Belichick now has 300 wins. I think he's about 24 away from Shula. I don't know if he will get there.
He's going for it. That's what he's going for. That's what he wants.
Yeah, that's what he wants.
Will he get it? I don't know, but that's what he wants.
That's the thing with the team currently around him. I don't know. It might be a few years in the works, but then again, that he's done so much for the Patriots, they might just let him grind towards it. Then again, if the Patriots get a really good draft pick, they might get themselves a franchise quarterback anyway. You might get there sooner after all. Just not this year. This year's going to be a rough year for them. So, but Lee, what do you feel about the accomplishment of one Bill Belichick, former under the Bill Parcells coaching tree?
Yeah.
So
look, love him or hate him. Love him or hate him. It's a massive accomplishment. There's no way to look beyond it. I mean, like a lot of people bring up, the Brady. Without Brady, he was great before Brady. Okay, Brady was a major part in him getting a lot of those wins. But one player, one coach doesn't make it happen. So this is a major accomplishment in his life. And again, appropriately against the Bills of all teams. And like you said, definitely needed it just from this season. If you interview him, he's going to say, "Yeah, 300 is great. I'm really we're on to the next team." Because
that's basically what he said in the post-game press conference.
But what he was saying on inside, he's like, "Don Shula, I'm coming for you. I just want you to know that, and we're on to the next win for me because that's the way it's going to be." I think I do a pretty good Belichick impression.
I think you do. Yeah. By the way, Belichick is 28. Don Shula is numbers 328. So Belichick would need another 28 wins.
Yeah, a few seasons.
Yeah.
He could do it. He could do it in 3 seasons.
If he gets himself a good quarterback, you get yourself 3 10-win seasons. You could do that.
Yeah. But luckily for coaches, there really is no age out, so he could do it in 10 seasons too.
That's also true. And
he'll go to a winner. Someone will want him. Some winning team will want him.
That's also possible, right? We've seen a lot of coaches in their finals. Don Shula. Is a perfect example. Now, mind you, he won with the Dolphins, but of course he started his career with the Colts. Right? Very, very few. We call him Papa Bear George Halas, of course, is the only one to really do it all with the Bears, but Lombardi was with the Packers and finished his career with the Commanders. Right. It's rare to see even the best coaches only coach for a single team.
Yeah.
And even Belichick. He started his career with the Browns.
Right.
So he hasn't been not all of those wins are with the Patriots, just the vast majority of them. So
yeah. Bill Belichick.
Rest of the NFL, a bit of a sloppy week all around. Turnovers galore. Really, the definition of a lot of games this week were defined by turnovers. The Giants, I think, won because of turnovers. I can't believe the Giants won.
What did you say? Who won?
I know, I can't believe the Giants won.
Who won a game?
In by the way, in one of the ugliest. I mean, you want to talk about ugly football? I actually started off with probably the ugliest game of the weekend was Giants Commanders, 14-7. The Giants defense again continues to show up. If the Giants offense at any given point can score more than 15 freaking points, this team could turn it around. That's the problem, though. But I am glad for Tyrod Taylor, who, by the way, Tyrod Taylor, fun stat. Daniel Jones in the last 4 years has one game of no interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and 200 yards passing. Tyrod Taylor in the last 2 weeks has one game with 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. The Daniel Jones era is over. Let Tyrod finish the season. I never want to see that dumpster fire ever again. Moving on to the rest of the league. We saw a lot of teams. Niners lost because of turnovers. The Eagles won partially because of turnovers and because they didn't have a single penalty called against them, which was a little unbelievable. There were a couple of those.
It's the script.
It's
you know what'll be really unbelievable? If the Eagles have no calls against them one time.
Yeah. So Lee, what's just one of your general thoughts on this week in football?
Well, look, we'll see if it's a little bit of a fluky week. What I'm wondering, Ray, is if defensive players are just getting better. The stigma on defensive players used to be, well, those are guys who just can't catch.
Yeah.
Right. But I think what's happening is the athletes are getting really, really good. And I think that's why you're starting to see this more. I mean, I don't want to blame it on the quarterbacks as much. Also, too, some of these were tip balls and it just happened to be that way this week. I mean, the Eagles turned the ball over plenty this weekend as well. I will say that the Eagles needed a rebound game after losing to the Jets. And they did do that against a very good Miami team. I was a little surprised to see the Niners lose last night. And Eagles also winning because of the brotherly shove, a play which they have perfected at this point of the season. That's going to be the thing that people know about this team this year, which I think makes the game more exciting that they go for it on 4th down. But look, it's that point of the season now. You're starting to see front runners emerge. You're starting to see teams that are not going to make it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it gets really good now. Again, you and I are NFC East fans. These matchups start getting very interesting now.
Yeah.
Right. So the Commanders play the Eagles this Sunday. They get very interesting now to see how that's going to in Washington. So I believe, Ray, I'm going to be at that game.
Oh, well, have a great time. And
I will.
Washington is going to come. Washington was, I don't know if you saw the press conference. Washington's very mad they lost to the Giants.
Yes.
So they may come an extra amped up to take on Philly, which you guys needed overtime to beat them last time. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, that team's very wishy-washy. Sometimes they look like a great team and sometimes they don't.
Yes.
And I think you're looking at a coaching change there after the season.
I agree.
It's going to be interesting to see, like how the Eagles respond too, because Eagles are now starting. It was really weird at the end of that game. I started to see Jalen Hurts turn it on suddenly.
Yes.
Like I had not seen him do all season.
That was 8-minute fourth quarter drive here are the Eagles.
He's awake. Yeah, he's awake. And it was right after a turnover. He had thrown an interception. He was shaking his head. And then all of a sudden it was like he was there. So I'm hoping that they have woken up, because I said it in previous episodes. They're kind of skimming by right now. You can see they're winning. They're finding ways to win, but they don't look like the Eagles. They just look like a good team.
Yep.
But if he's awake, watch out.
Yes. Well, and even skimming by, they are the 1 seed currently in the NFC after both the Lions NFL. And Niners. They're a half game ahead of the Chiefs.
I believe so. Yes.
Right. Because I think the Chiefs already had their bye or something like that.
In the NIFL, number 1.
Yes. So there you go. Moving on, basketball kicks off when we're recording it. Basketball kicks off tomorrow. When you folks are listening to it, basketball will be kicking off this evening.
Right.
The NBA season will be kicking off. A lot of storylines going into this. Obviously, the Dame Lillard trade to the Bucks. Giannis just signed a massive 3-year extension with Milwaukee for over $180 million. So he's going to be locked up there for a long time. I mean, Lee, I know your Sixers are good. You're always going to be near the top of the conference again. Well,
there's a lot of controversy going on in that locker right now. I don't know what to expect from them at this point. There's a lot of drama going on now. They can either use that to push themselves forward and maybe have a rallying cry, or it's going to crumble them. But they are on, use the term life support before. In terms of their chances to win this whole thing, they're there. The
window's closing.
It's either closed or about to close. There's not much left, I can't see certain players staying here much longer if we don't get past the second round, if you know what I mean. We haven't been to the finals once.
Yeah.
During the trust the process era.
Yeah.
And it's a problem.
No, absolutely agree.
By the way, I'll be the first to admit it is insanely hard to make the finals with an S for some reason. Okay. But the Sixers have been good enough to get there multiple times.
Yeah.
I don't think
they've choked it away a couple of times.
Multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. The Celtics obviously retooled, made some trades in the offseason, going to try to compete. Yeah. I still think, look, I'm not going to lie, folks. I think that if you're picking anybody other than Milwaukee versus Denver right now, here, game one on paper, I think that, those will be the two odds-on favorites, right?
Yeah, I think the Celtics are in that conversation too, on paper. I think they're right there, but we'll find out. You got to play the games.
Yeah. Knicks are probably a playoff team again. They didn't make enough changes. The second round is their ceiling, right? For the Knicks. They still need that one more legitimate scorer / superstar. Brunson has emerged as one of those guys, but he needs help. Some of the young kids quickly and whatnot, we're hoping they take another step forward this year, but if they don't, the Knicks are okay.
Kaput.
They're okay. They're an okay team, right? They're not going to upset anybody. They're not going to pull off.
This is my problem with basketball, right? We talked about this, and the MLB has fixed their playoffs where anybody can win. The NFL, obviously, anybody can win. The NHL, obviously, anybody can win. In the NBA, can't say that.
No,
can't say it. It would be.
It is the least amount of parity amongst the four major sports. It is the least amount of parity.
You could probably predict the Final Four right now with great accuracy. That's a problem.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think, and they're doing a lot of other stuff. I want to get into the in-season tournament now they're doing. Mm-hmm. I feel like basketball, they're trying to treat the symptoms instead of the root cause of the issues, right? They added the 2 wild cards, right? And now technically it's a 10-seed playoff, right?
That doesn't fix the problem.
Games, which was terrible. I hate the playing games.
10-seed playoff. Wow.
Awful.
So 2/3 of the teams make it.
Yes.
That's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and then you have an in-season tournament where it's every Thursday starting the first week of November, every Thursday in the league, if I read this correctly, for 8 weeks is technically a tournament game. Mm-hmm. You've got special randomly picked groups. There's 5 groups or 6 groups of 5 teams, and then there will be those games all count towards the standings.
Of course. Yes.
But then there will be a mini playoff where those games won't count towards the standings. The players will get special tournament awards. There will be extra money involved for the players that win, which obviously incentivizes the players to play these extra games. But it just feels like it feels like because the first 40 games of the NBA season don't matter because of this issue of lack of parity, that they're trying to make the beginning of the season matter more. And I still just don't care, because you know what's going to end up happening now is that now to try to win these tournament games, you're going to start seeing more in my opinion, start seeing more superstars take more days off. Right? You've already seen this load management thing with a lot of superstars in the NBA where they'll only play 65, 70 games out of an 82-game schedule despite being perfectly healthy. And I think now it's like, oh, you need me to play 3 more games in December for this tournament? Well, I'm going to take 3 more days off in April, or I'll take 3 more days off in November. I don't know. We need to see how it plays out. But on paper, I think this is the dumbest freaking idea I've ever heard.
Well, Ray, this is actually something I can speak to within sports with great experience, because I've coached in leagues where this has happened before. All right. And I can tell you this now. Again, I'm going to explain what I've done and then how that might apply here. So when I coached hockey in Europe, we had an in-season tournament just like this. All right. And there were 3 championships every year in Europe. There was the league champion, who is the greatest regular season record after the regular season, which was actually, in Europe,
like
that's the big
trophy.
one. Yeah. And again, in European soccer, in European sports, that actually is the big championship, right? When you look at the Premier League, that's the big championship. Then there's the playoff championships where they have their playoffs and you can win the championship of the playoffs. And then there's the Challenge Cup, right? Which is, and the way we did it over there is the first home and first away game against every team in the league counts towards those standings. And what it does is it gives a little bit of a jump start to, as you said, the beginning of the season, where suddenly these early games really matter, right? And winning that cup championship, while I would say it's the 3rd most important championship, the athletes wanted it. And it's a major championship. You have to look at it like that. So the challenge is on the NBA to do this. Can't be gimmicky. This cannot be a gimmick championship where it's like, who cares about that? It might take some time for it to get there.
Because right now it sounds like a gimmick.
Absolutely feels like it's a gimmicky thing, right? It reminds me of like when MLB had the World Series home field advantage decided by the All-Star game winner, which was just ridiculous, right? But it might feel gimmicky. We'll see how it goes. If the athletes really try and win this thing and it becomes competitive, and more importantly, and this is what I hope happens, you don't see those 4 teams, that are going to be in the Final Four fighting for it. You start to see teams that maybe aren't normally there, right, fighting for this thing. But it's all about formatting. It's all about how you do it. And it's all about the way you promote it, of who's going to win this challenge trophy, right? So in one sense, I actually applaud them for doing this because I've seen this really work and I've seen it make the games better. If it improves the quality of those early games, keeping in mind too, these challenge games coexist with the point structure. I like that. That. And you got to play, at least in our league, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. You had to play 6 games to win the whole thing in the playoffs. So there's 6 extra games you had to play. Keeping in mind too, hockey has way more wear and tear on the players than basketball does, in my opinion. I'm not saying basketball players don't have that, but I'm saying it's not comparable. All right.
Right.
So I think it's a good idea. I would like to see other sports league try something like that, but they're going to see how the NBA does it. Again, very European in nature, but I'll tell you right now that if it's the same teams winning this every year, and it's the same teams that win the playoffs and the same teams that win the regular season championship, it's going to die real quick. All right. And again, the holy grail when I coached was winning something called the treble, which is you win all 3, the Challenge Cup, the regular season, and the playoff championship. And only 1 team in the league's history had ever done it. Happened to be the team I coached. But that's not the point right now. Okay. The point I'm trying to make is that it should be something that creates something more elusive, right? Can you imagine the majesty, pun intended, again, all right, of winning all 3 at a major American sports league? That would be pretty cool. Right? But it also provides some parity. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. I really am. Like again, and again, Ray, I'm not trying to say this like I know more than anybody. It's just I've seen this work. But if you haven't been to Europe, it's going to 100% feel gimmicky and weird.
Yeah, or even immersed in European sports culture, right?
Yeah, like completely normal. Like the Champions League is an amazing thing to me. And again, for those who don't know what the Champions League is, all of in hockey, the professional sports champions, league champions, and like second place, you see this in the EPL too, they have a tournament against the other champions from around Europe. It's amazing. It's an amazing tournament. You have the best versus the best. And we don't do that here because we have the best athletes. All right. Yeah. And no American sports league is ever going to put like the World Series on the line against Japanese baseball. Like there's no way they're ever going to do that any more than the NHL would ever challenge the KHL for the Gagarin Cup. It's just not going to happen because it's just a bad business decision.
Right.
But I'm just telling you, I've seen this work. I'm very intrigued. And I would say to you and all American fans, hey, give it a chance. Let's just see what happens here.
Yeah, I want to see how it plays out for sure. I'm very skeptical right now.
If the Knicks end up winning that thing, right, or the Sixers for that matter, right, or your team at home who doesn't win a lot, it's going to be great. You can win something. You know what I mean? And the real question is, does that take away from the NBA championship, the finals? And I don't think it does, though. But I don't think it does. I think, at least of right now, that's the holy grail. In America, we just do not care about regular season titles.
Nope.
And I'll be honest with you, when I was in Europe, I had a hard time with that. And they always used to justify, well, it's the best team over the course of the season. I said, no, I know what it is. I understand what it is. I don't understand that's better than the playoff championship. And like their justification was like, well, that's really the champion is like the best team throughout the course of the season. And I said, guys, I think there's a little more grit in the playoffs over where I'm from. Like you have to fight for that trophy. You don't just kind of coast into it sometimes. So, anyway, that's kind of a bird's eye view from seeing both of them. So I'm interested to see it, Ray. Sorry, I spoke longer than I wanted to on that, but I think it's a cool little thing they're doing. I'd like to see other sports leagues do that.
No, I appreciate the insight, and I hope and I'm sure the people who are listening at home or in their cars or wherever people are listening appreciate it as well. But
one more thing, I'll shut up. I promise. Sometimes I go on these things. How cool would this be? I'm just thinking out loud here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to win you over on this one right now. Okay. Instead of the All-Star games, that's when you play this tournament.
I would prefer that 100%.
Right? So you get rid of the All-Star game. You can still name the All-Star teams. You can do all that. But instead, the challenge in-season tournament championship is that weekend. Yeah. Now I'm giving you something to watch.
Yeah.
That would be great. NHL should do that. Get rid of the All-Star game and you have your in-season championship. That would be awesome. And again, you don't even have to do series for this. Maybe it's just one and done. You take a little thing from football here that, the final 4 from the challenge series or whatever it is, the final 8, one and done. You get one game to advance. It's a lightning round playoffs. It's different. It's fun. It would replace the All-Star game. That's how I would do it. Do you agree with me? Comment below. Let us know what you think. I'm Lee Elias and Ray Carcillo here to tell you that sports can be more fun. Vote Elias Carcillo Elias 24 now.
I'm all for that. You should vote for us. I have no idea what we're running for, but you should definitely vote for us.
Doesn't matter. Just vote for us.
Yes. Leave 5 stars beloh and whatever app you're listening on. That helps.
5-star candidates for a better future, which we did earlier in the episode.
Yes. Oh, goodness. Speaking of a better future, last story in the sports world. Again, it feels like we say something and there's a reaction, and the NHL has reversed their pride tape decision literally as of only just several hours ago before we recorded this on the this section, at least on the 24th. The NHL has reversed their pride tape decision, and players can start using it again, which I think is great. And honestly, it should never have.
By the way, and they can use any tape they want to individually express themselves. Hey, NHL, great job, great decision. You worked with your players' association. You worked with these groups. You understood that a mistake, or if you want to say it, a mishap, misunderstanding, whatever you want to say, took place. You fixed it. That's great job. And again, Ray, we don't call out sports leagues enough when they make good decisions. This was a good decision. And I want to thank the NHL for recognizing that and not having an ego about it and saying, no, this isn't what we meant. This is what we meant. Good on you, NHL, for doing that. We can now move on with the regular scheduled hockey season.
Yes. We appreciate that Gary Bettman listens to the show and that he listens to us.
Listen to the sound of the pride tape. Oh, ADR. Oh my God. Yeah, that's pride tape. It sounds like regular tape. Imagine that.
Taste the rainbow. Anyway, so that's our sports section for this week for Geeks Like Sports. We now move on to the geek section. And honestly, I am super excited to talk about Loki episode 3 this week because a lot happened in this week's episode. Minor spoilers, actually major spoilers.
Let's do all the spoilers. There's going to be spoilers.
There's going to be spoilers. There's going to be spoilers for this. Basically, finally, and by the way, I think when we talk about this, I think everything from the trailer for the season has now been shown. They went back to the 19th century. They found old-timey Kang. And I mean, that's basically what it is. He's
old-timey Kang. I thought you were going to say old-timely.
I mean, yes, his name is Victor Timely?
Yes, old-timey Kang. That's good. Yeah. Yes, Kang, you see? Yes.
I mean, that's basically what it was. Like, we're here in Chicago in 1893 at the World's Fair.
It was a lot of fun, that episode with him. Yes. The acting is so good in this show.
Yes.
So
because you're still in conflict with We get Renslayer, and we get Renslayer and Miss Minutes. We get their motivation. We get what's going on with them. They're a major part of this episode. Sylvie, we get what's going on with her. Obviously, Mobius and Loki are still trying to save the TVA and the time loom, because the time loom is still coming on, even though the pruning from episode 2 bought them time, which I appreciate. They explained that right off the bat, because that's what I was wondering at the end of the, it's like, well, did they at least buy them time because they pruned all these other timelines? But as those timelines grow back,
it's like a weed, right? It just keeps coming back.
Right. So they bought themselves some time to go jumping through time to find a variant for He Who Remains. They still haven't called him Kang. He's still not known as Kang here in Loki. It ends on the cliffhanger that Miss Minutes is going to tell Renslayer a secret, as Sylvie, instead of killing Renslayer, traps her at the end of time with the decomposing body of He Who Remains, who had been killed, looks like weeks earlier at that point. So I don't know. I don't really study decomposing bodies, but he's pretty far along.
I'm trying to say that you're not a mortician, Ray. I believe that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's not an special area of expertise for me. But Lee, again, to me, Loki is the best show that they've done on Disney Plus.
Easily.
This is only continuing it. Lee, what do you think is the secret that Miss Minutes is going to tell Renslayer?
Oh boy. Okay. I think it could be one of two things.
Mm-hmm.
And these could potentially merge. One would be that Miss Minutes is Renslayer, right? That at some point in the future, Renslayer becomes Miss Minutes, and that's why that they can't operate in the same space at the same time together. All right. And the ego of Miss Minutes shows a lot in this episode.
Yes.
The other is that Renslayer is a Kang variant, which is very possible. Although I think that one's too obvious. And if I know anything about these shows, either they go all in on the obvious or they don't. Right. Yeah. And I'll say this too, Ray. I got this weird feeling during this episode that I was watching it. And I said, man, this kind of feels like, follow me here, what WandaVision should have been. Right. Like I got some WandaVision vibes in this episode just because of the way they were back in time. And, there was kind of equal comedy to seriousness. Yeah. And I feel like they just kind of figured out how to write television finally. Whereas remember, like WandaVision was a movie in 6 episodes or whatever it was. It wasn't
9 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't episodic. Right. It was, I mean, like, I guess literally it was, but you know what I mean? It just, you got to watch.
It wasn't designed to really be episodic.
Yeah. Yeah. But this show is, I mean, the cliffhangers, the understanding of a cliffhanger. Thank you, whoever's writing the show. But I think those could be the secrets, or it's going to be some stupid secret that no one saw coming. And it's like, maybe the secret's, you should watch Ahsoka, Ray Carcillo.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
But no, okay. I think that I think it's possible that Renslayer is Miss Minutes.
That's an interesting one. I didn't think about that, but I don't think it's going to be that one. But I do think that it's possible. It's possible that Renslayer is a Kang variant, and they're going to do a parallel between Renslayer.
It would make a lot of sense.
And He Who Remains, the same way Sylvie and Loki, how there's a real tension and relationship there, kind of falling in love with themselves in a weird way. Because in the comics, remember, Renslayer is the one true love of Kang. Right. She, in the comic books, people might not realize this. If you read the comics, when she debuts in the comics, I want to say in the 80s, she loves Kang. Kang loves her in a timeline, and she sacrifices herself so that Kang can escape and go become Kang the Conqueror.
Well, so and she does say, sorry, just to help you with this point. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But she does say to Victor Timely, like, you're not my Kang, basically. Like there is one that I love. That she didn't say it like that, and you're not him, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, I think her being a Kang variant is the obvious choice. But here's the thing, I wouldn't mind it. Sometimes I get disappointed when it's too obvious.
Yes.
Right? But
I think that would work perfectly for the show.
I agree. I think people want it too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think so. Yeah. I'm super excited to see where this goes. I'm super excited to see what happens with how it ties into the larger MCU.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, and again, look, it would make sense for her to be a variant and run the TVA. I mean, that's exactly who I would put in charge if I was doing it, because we have situations.
Well, and that's her drive. That's what she wants. She wants power, right? Like she has the same
and Sylvie said that.
A Kang. Yeah.
Sylvie said that to him at the end of the episode. You want power.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm very interested to see where it goes from a Loki front. And again, the show's called Loki, but it's way bigger than that now, which is awesome. All right. I really enjoyed Victor Timely. I thought the acting was just fantastic. He's such a good actor.
Yeah.
And again, larger MCU. I don't know how this is going to play in. I mean, they need to get to the point. All right, I'm going to say it again. I read
3 episodes left. They got 3 episodes.
Here's a really interesting point, Ray. I read an article the other day, and the numbers were they were insanity to me. It was like since Loki season 1 came out, it was like 12 Marvel films have come out, like 9 shows have come out, and it's like I didn't realize it was that much. Yeah. But it's like so you introduced Kang. I mean, there's fatigue here. Yeah. Right. And it's like, you need to start bringing these things together. Like, here's things some of our listeners, I guarantee you forgot about the Eternals.
I forget all the time about the Eternals.
Right. White Vision. All right.
I don't forget that one because I called that one.
You should never. I'm just talking about the people out there. You probably, where's White Vision? Where are the Eternals? Yeah. Where is Captain America?
Well, we know at least Captain America is supposed to be getting his next film, but everything keeps getting delayed because of the strikes. Right. But I mean, and I'm also hopeful that not only will this start to tie up some loose ends, but we have the Marvels in 2 weeks. Right. And I hope that obviously Kamala Khan, who was introduced in Ms. Marvel, which was a TV show. Oops, I hit my microphone. I hope that we start to finally see this stuff pay off. I
don't think we will in that film. I think there's going to be a bad guy. It's going to be like Guardians, and after the film, there might be a Kang scene.
Like, I mean, if that's all it is, I'm going to be very disappointed because again, you basically use Kamala Khan as like you called her basically the first X-Man.
You introduced the mutants.
Through her.
I highly doubt that film will have anything more than a fun story for the 3 of them, and I hope I am wrong.
Yeah. We better get some freaking mutants or something, or a Shi'ar or something tied to the X-Men in that film.
Shi'ar would be awesome.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to be in space, like...
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what that is, go read X-Men in the 80s and the 90s.
Yes, like, or at least watch a cartoon again before X-Men 97 comes out.
Yes.
Like, just... Give me something, guys!
Yeah,
Come on!
That's where we're at. You are spread way too thin at this point. And again, I didn't even touch on some of these other characters. I mean, what happened to Echo? That was supposed to be out by now. Daredevil's coming back. I mean, you guys remember that? Daredevil's still here?
Yeah.
Where's Spider-Man? I mean, there's a lot.
Well, they announced now they're going to start filming the new Spider-Man film December of next year.
Well, there you go.
That's their plan.
Where's Spider-Man?
Oh, well, Spider-Man. I was going to say that, the best Marvel universe is right now? It's the video game universe that Insomniac Games has made. Yeah, I'm bringing the glasses back. All right.
I thought when we time traveled, those wouldn't be here again, but they're back.
They are back.
This is like an 8th wall break. And he turned the lights on, ladies and gentlemen who are listening at home. He has got, we'll put a mini clip out with this just so you can see Ray.
There you go. Hey, Ray. So
Spider-Man, you're always smiling when you're wearing those. So those are happy goggles.
Yeah. These are happy goggles. And I'm always, and I'm very happy so far with Insomniac Spider-Man 2. Now, this is not a full review because I have not beaten the game yet because so much has been going on the last week.
Why would you want to beat that game? And I mean that
that's part of it
in
too.
The most positive way.
I have been doing every side mission, every side quest. I'm about 2/3 of the way through the story. I know I am getting close to the end. Things are finally starting to pick up. I will say that I feel like it happened with the first game too, is that it took a little while to get going. And then once it hits its stride, it just really sucks you in. But they're doing a great job with all the villains. I'm at the point now where it's emo Spidey. So it's not quite as bad as Tobey Maguire, but he is in like a black turtleneck and black slacks. And I'm just like,
They're definitely making fun of Tobey with that, though.
They're definitely making fun of Tobey. This. Yeah, so I'm getting close to the point where he's going to lose the symbiote and symbiote, depending on who you ask.
It's symbiote. All right, we're not going to be using that Spider-Man. The symbiote.
Oh God!
Do you remember when that came out? That show, we were like, "That's not how you say that."
I know. It's like no.
How did nobody stop that film and be like, "No, say it like this"? I guarantee you that didn't happen there, or they just didn't do the research.
It's a little from column A, a little from column B, maybe.
Symbiote.
But I'm excited because I'm still not. I have a feeling I know who's going to end up being Venom now.
Yeah, it's Eddie Brock, like it always is, right?
No, Eddie
Dun,
Brock
dun,
isn't even
dun.
in the game.
I know.
This universe is really interesting because they've made some really interesting decisions with some of
Yes.
the characters, sometimes merging some characters into one. But
Makes
they've
it
done
more
it.
fun.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of making it make sense overall. And I think playing as both Miles and Peter works. What they do from a technical perspective, this is the best fast travel in any game ever. Like, it is not just, it is instantaneous travel. Like, if you really want to go from one end of the map to the other, it's literally just teleport here and there's no loading.
Wow.
It's no loading. It's unbelievable. But then again, I don't
Ray,
fast travel that much because
there's something about you with those goggles on being excited that is just, how am I supposed to look at you with a straight face right now? Now your eyebrows came out. It's even worse. Oh my God, people. I'm so glad for you listeners to know. No, don't do it. You look, oh my God. Okay. I didn't think I could malfunction on live on the air, but it's happening.
I did it.
I did it.
150 plus episodes, almost 200 episodes.
Yeah, we're closer to 200. Oh, they just turned off. There we go.
Nope, they're back on. They're back on. There we go. Now I'll put them into like don't go to sleep mode. So there we go. It's really, they really did a phenomenal job with it overall so far. From what I've seen, again, it's not full review. I'm 2/3 of the way through the story and just really, really loving every second of it. And again, I don't fast travel much because I just love swinging through New York. There's a couple of annoying, like, collect 42 spider bots. There's a couple of those annoying little missions, but overall, really, really digging it.
You know what's funny, right? This is Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
And the last time a Spider-Man 2 game came out for PS2, we had a similar experience. I'm actually being a little nostalgic here. I remember that the advertising for that game was take New York for a spin. Right. And I remember that with the New York, and you got to remember, friends, that this is a long time ago. So the fact you could travel around New York City in a game was a brand new idea. Like, it never had worked before. Some people would get stars in their eyes or hearts in their eyes, depending on who you are, where you're at. But I remember playing that game and just kind of walking around New York in the game and like taking my commute to work, like in the game. So this is, the game footage is obviously gorgeous. But yeah, I'm with you, man. It's like, that's one of the things they really nailed in the Spider-Man video game universe is the understanding that people want that. Like, they want to web sling around New York. Yeah.
No, they do an amazing job with it. The traversal is fantastic.
Yeah. I believe it's the fastest selling video game in Sony's history too.
That is also true. It sold 2.5 million copies in the first 24 hours, the most successful Sony video game ever.
Well, good for them. And they're still not close to Microsoft anyway.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Money-wise.
No, exactly. So, but it's been phenomenal and great for Insomniac, who just continue to churn out quality game after quality game. It's really, really, really well done and good on those guys. They deserve it. So
now, Ray, my question is, how long until it's on an Xbox console? How long?
This is the thing. It'll go to PC. This is an exclusive. This isn't going to go to Xbox.
I know. At some point, though, these games will come over. All of them.
Maybe one day. But I say give it a year or two and it'll go to PC, right? Yeah. Which is basically kind of like, most gaming PCs are running on Windows anyway. So, but yeah, it's going to be, this is a big deal for Sony. Huge. Some are saying this is it's a system seller. I don't know if you haven't already bought a PS5. I don't know if this would put you over the top.
I'm not buying a PS5 to play it.
Yeah,
I want to play it. I want to play it. Is it enough for me to invest in another console? No.
I was gonna say another $500. That's
not worth it to me.
But if you already have it, or you're like me and you have to have all the consoles and stuff for like work and
you
stuff.
literally do. Yeah, that's different.
Like,
if I came home with a PS5 with my wife in the Spider-Man game, it would be like, oh, you're grounded. Yeah. And I'd be like, that's what I wanted. She's like, without the PlayStation.
Oh no.
Because then she's gonna grab it and play it. I'll never see it again.
Oh, double no.
No, Ray knows my wife. She can game for hours on end.
Yes. Yes. When Lee and Jane got married, I gave them an Xbox 360.
You did. We used it a lot.
Yes. So
and you gave my son his first Switch.
That's also
still used a lot.
Yes. Well, finally, that'll be a big deal. My suspicion is that we're going to finally hear about the Switch 2 in the next 3 months.
Yeah, just in time for the holiday.
Yeah. I think that's when they'll make their announcement, and I think they'll release it probably in the spring, which is what they've done the last couple of consoles. So
the Switch again.
Yes. But the Switch is not dead. The Switch is still releasing quality content.
Absolutely.
In fact, Nintendo was like, oh, Sony's releasing a big exclusive. So we're going to release a big exclusive too. And arguably it was just as big as Spider-Man. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, man, was released this weekend. And actually it's getting better, even better scores than Spider-Man. Like Super Mario Brothers Wonder, I've only played a little bit of it because I've been mostly playing Spider-Man. I admit it, and I will, once I finish that, I will completely dive into Mario Brothers. But I have played enough of it to give an early opinion on it. It feels fantastic. It feels like an old school scroller. It feels like Super Mario World and Super Mario Brothers 3. The elephant powers are fun. The idea of collecting the wonder seeds, which is, always collecting a star or something, right? In this case, you go to the flower kingdom, and you have to help Prince Florian because, of course, Bowser shows up, steals the wonder flower, and turns himself into, with the wonder power, his own castle. So it's a sentient Castle Bowser with Bowser's intelligence, and it's flying around destroying the flower kingdom.
Can't have that.
Yeah. So, of course, oh no, Mario, please help me, I'm Prince Florian.
I come.
Yeah. And then Mario is like, oh, Mario, you're a hero. How convenient that you're right here when Bowser attacks for the 333rd time. And off you go. And it's beautiful. And it's fantastic.
Please, Yankees, retire my number. I want my number retired.
Mario, we're going to retire your cap. We'll retire your cap if you save the Flower Kingdom. Yeah. But Mario Brothers Wonder is wonderful. Oh. And if you only have a Switch, or you have a Switch and an Xbox, if you are a Mario fan, I think this is an easy must purchase, and you'll be like, Spider-Man, what? Because it's that good. Now, I won't do that, obviously. But for people who are possibly having a little bit of FOMO right now because they don't have a PlayStation 5, go get Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and you'll feel just fine.
I'm going to take you up on that.
I would love to get your opinions on it. I would.
Look, the Nintendo has always done Mario for the most part right. It's very hard to mess up a Mario game, but they know what they're doing. You got to trust them.
Yes, and the new voice actor for Mario does a fantastic job.
Can you tell?
So, not really.
Yeah, that's what matters.
You know, it's a little different, but it's not like jarringly different.
Right.
So great job all around. And there's also online co-op. So with that, Mario, you can do co-op, you can do local co-op, you can play with your friends, you can also just turn online on, and you can have ghost players on, and you can see other people playing the course as you're playing.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Wow, that's different. Yeah, they figured that side of it out too. They're always innovating in that realm.
Yes. Yeah. So they did a really great job overall with it. I'm only a few stages in, but I'm really, really loving it. And I really wish I was just rich, and so I didn't have to work, and I could just play these games all day. So, but
I wish that for you.
I'm working on it.
You wish upon a ray.
Well, with that final wish, we're gonna have to bid you all.
Well, I'm going to tease the mashup, which is going to come out later this week real quick, which you got to watch if you want to see it. But based off, the mashups are always based on what we're talking about in the episode. And this week, we're going to discuss what fictional character or superhero is most likely to request their cape or their costume to be retired by their organization. So that's going to be a really fun one. Spin your minds around that. Let us know who you think it should be on our Facebook page, Geeks Who Like Sports. And we'll share some of those on the episode, which is going to be coming out this Saturday.
Yes, the mashup will be out this Saturday. This episode, as you're hearing it, if you are a day one sub, we appreciate it. It's a day late because of our time traveling. But
no, it's not day late. It's just coming out later in the day.
Right.
But thank you for time traveling with us. I hope that future Lee is very excited and very happy. Right. Yes. You saw him early in the episode. I really hope he's not distraught and devastated that this team that he has really fallen in love with over the last 6 or 7 months, to the Diamondbacks. But we'll find out. I mean, I'll find out. You already know listening at home, but I'm gonna go and find out now.
Yes. What
the future Lee is going to be.
Yes. Yeah. we're all rooting for Philly. I think a Philly-Texas World Series would be a lot of fun.
I mean, we called that.
Yes, that's also true.
We called it. That's another reason why I want it to happen. That is also true. So we'll see.
Yes. I mean, look, here's the thing. The Phillies have the best playoff home record of all time. You lost yesterday. The odds of you, I mean, look, we'll see what happens.
Don't do it, Ray. Don't say anything right now because the audience already knows who won. This is all I'm going to say. This is all I'm going to say. The Phillies are breaking a record of some sort every night they play. I would hate for that journey to end tonight.
Against the Diamondbacks.
Yes. And all of you already know what happened.
Yes.
Including future me.
Including future you, who's actually the beginning of this episode in our
You
past.
should go listen to this episode again now.
Yes.
And give it a 5-star review.
Yes.
And tell your friends and share it. Thank you all.
Yes, it's going to make the beginning of the episode even better.
Right.
Because we'll know then what we don't know now.
Yeah, this is better than any Marvel episode.
I mean, definitely, I think so.
When will be now?
We could be Loki and Mobius, actually, in disguise.
Yeah, it works. That works. Yeah. Which one of us is Mobius, though?
I feel like you're the more positive one.
Wow.
I feel like you would be, whereas
Caitlin's our Ouroboros. Yep.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
podcast loom is breaking. Help.
Yeah.
That would work.
No,
yeah.
and Loki has a penchant for knives. I think I would definitely be the first to stab someone out of the two of us.
Oh, I can guarantee that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably the way it goes. Anyway, Flourish, different show. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next week. Next week will be early because we're doing a special Halloween episode. So yeah, so you thought I went big with the goggles today. Wait till next week.
Oh God, Mother of God.
But until then, we appreciate everybody tuning in. It really means a lot. As always, for Lee, I'm Ray. This has been Geeks Who Like Sports. We'll see you all next time. Good night, everybody. Goodbye, baseball.